Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I have a video for you today. I'm sorting so much, I'm clearing up so much, I'm getting rid of so much stuff for the charity shop, to the bin and to my sale. And one of the things I want to touch on today is those of you that are still affected by hormonal cycles and how that can really make you change throughout that cycle. And certainly I really feel much more attached to certain objects at certain times of the month, and other times of the month I feel like I could get rid of the entire contents of my house. Well, maybe not quite the entire contents of my house, but I find it much more easier to be ruthless. Does that strike a chord with any of you? So or can you think back to when that perhaps used to affect you a bit more? But that's something that I was never ever aware of until probably the last couple of years. So I just think it's fascinating to be aware of that, because it can really help how you consider things, plan things and organise things. So I started the video in the garden hanging all my washing out. Now this was the load that my husband took out of the washing machine last night. I thought he'd put it on the line, but he hadn't. He'd taken it outside the back door, and maybe that's because he thought it was going to rain. I don't know. But I hung it all out on the line, and it hadn't been sitting in the washing machine for long. It hadn't been sitting in the linen basket for long. And I started to feel like, oh no, does it have that dreadful damp smell? I find that my smell and my taste changed massively when I was unwell a couple of years ago, as many people had that affected as well. But a lot of it's returned, but this smell I find quite difficult to pick up. So I checked a few items with my daughter, who said, no, that really smells damp. So initially I thought, that'll be okay, I'll leave underwear on the line, dry it all, I'll probably be, freshen up outside in the sunshine and, wind or breeze. And the items that are like tops and towels, I'll have to rewash. And then the more items I got out, the more I realised, no, all of these items smell. And as they're on the line and it's hot, that sort of damp smell started to just come into the air by where I was standing. So you'll see, I hang everything out. I go and get some more washing to then hang out, which is just finished in the washing machine. And then I get everything back in again. And I rewash everything. So that was a bit of a waste of time. I felt a bit frustrated about that, to say the least. But I decided to take your advice and put a little bit less in the machine after I had put loads of vinegar in the machine. Let's hope it doesn't cause it to rust or do anything funny. But I put a wash on with vinegar in the machine, and then I've now put a load back in, but not so much. So I'm hoping that the washing will be a lot fresher. I don't like to use washing powder or softener, which has that really strong smell, because I think often the stronger the smell, the more chemicals. When you look on the ingredients, you think, oh my goodness, am I really breathing this in and wearing this? There's so many pollutants, isn't there? So the one that I use is not very strong at all. It's just the Tesco non-biological one, for those of you in the United Kingdom. I find it doesn't have any sort of really harsh chemicals in, as bad as some, doesn't have a really strong smell, but obviously the problem is with my washing machine. So I've now got the load on. Let's hope when I get that out, that doesn't smell that dreadful damp smell. So you're going to see me doing loads in today's video. So you'll see me sorting out all the washing, you're going to see me in the kitchen, you're going to see me doing the craft project with my daughter. At the moment she just popped out to Hobbycraft with my husband because she needs some more felt. So she's gone to get the felt from the shops, and I'm just doing this voiceover. Then when she comes back, I shall help her finish off. She's done all the sewing herself, because obviously it's a school project, so I can't do it. But what I was doing was pinning the templates to the felts, and then she was then cutting them out. So you'll see a tiny little snippet of that. You'll also see me doing loads of washing up and clearing up the kitchen, or at least trying to. And then I start on the Mount Everest pile in our old bedroom. So do you remember we picked up everything from the floor and we put it all on the bed? Well, I say everything from the floor. We picked up a lot from the floor and put on the bed. There's so much to do. There really is so much to do. And on a warm, sunny day like this, I really don't feel like doing it. But I need the space. So I need to decide what items I'm giving away to charity, what items I'm going to sell on our store when we get back from holiday, and what items I can just bin. And my aim today is create as much space and get rid of as much junk and all these things I'm keeping hold of that I look at and think, yeah, that looks nice, when I know that I'm never going to wear it again. I need to stop being silly with some things. I really do. It's quite funny. I found a size 12 faux leather skirt. So it's like this sort of plastic. And I think I wore it a couple of times, but boy, does that make you sweat. It's really not a very nice skirt to wear. And I held it up to myself and said, oh, to my daughter, oh, look, I could wear this. She said, Mummy, give it to charity. That made me laugh. So I want to go through a few of your comments. I'm not managing to touch the sides of all your comments, so I do want to go through a few. Brooks Howell said, yay, Emma, keep up the good work with the washing. My dad does 100% of the yard work, but he puts dried dishes and most laundry away. My husband did all of the laundry. I know your husband has different jobs he does around the house as well. And I am increasingly assigning him more jobs to do. I find that he works quite well with lists. If I give him a list of different things to work through, and he'll work through the list. I think some things he just doesn't see. With your daughter's age and increasing activities, my suggestion is to let the second job go. You will have time again to grow yourself in the future. If you feel like you need more income, then take your first job's offer of more hours. Think of it as stealing time from the other things you'd like to do, especially things that fill your bucket, like reading and music. I'm interested to see where you end up moving your craft supplies. I'm wondering if you'd consider a 4 or 6 cube shelf in the corner of your dining room to hold your daughter's books and craft supplies. One of my friends and I have been doing arm workouts together. She goes to the gym a few days a week and I do exercises for the rest of my body on my own. Speaking of which, it's time to move it. Move it, move it. It's time to move it, move it. That's great post book. Well done with your exercising, and it's a good idea to do this arm workout movements. I think it's something that you've got to be mindful of. I think it's keeping your arms strong. I think like with my walking, I'm trying to move my arms. If you move your arms at the same time, but otherwise it's quite easy not to really do any sort of strengthening exercises for your sort of upper body. Yeah, a couple of things there. So yes, you're right. With everything that my daughter's doing, she is busy. But the great thing about the second job is that she is oblivious to it. So I only work when she's at school or she's asleep. So otherwise it does not impact her at all. So there might have been one occasion where my husband did an extra school run. But it doesn't impact her at all. And I'm slowly saving up, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save up for something. I might tell everybody what I'm saving up for, but I might keep that a secret. Yeah, think of it as stealing time from other things you like to do. Yes, I do hear you, such as reading and music, but I do really enjoy that second job. So there's small bits of it that I don't like, but there are lots of it, like all the visits, I really enjoy, and I feel like I'm supporting and helping develop young people. So it's a bit tricky. A few people have said to me about an extra piece of furniture in the dining room. I just don't think the dining room could take any more furniture. That might be difficult for you to see the angles, but sometimes even like with the music stand out on the side of where the table is, that can be quite difficult to get past. So I just don't think there's any spare space unless I got rid of the table and got a much smaller table, or got rid of the piano, or got rid of the cabinets. Couple of you told me to pick up all the things from the floor, all the craft things and all the pencils and pens and everything. I'm going to do that. I'm going to completely clear that area out, and it's going to go back to 2 boxes and 2 boxes only. Well, 2 boxes and the rattan basket of books. Everything else is going to be put away somewhere else. Carolyn says, sounds like you're doing great on your challenge. I'm trying, Carolyn. It's not always easy, but I am saying no to something every day, whether that's chocolate, whether that's another coffee, whether that's me saying no about something I disagree with. There was a quiz that was sent out to my daughter, which I said no to. I was very unhappy at what was circulated, and lots of other parents were as well. If it wasn't factual, it's difficult to me to explain without giving you the detail. But it was inappropriate. It was not age appropriate, and it was not factual. So I wasn't happy about that. But the school have been absolutely amazing in dealing with my feedback. There's lots of things that I'm trying to sort out at the moment, as well as my normal things. So I'm at the moment making or having made a bowling for a pig game. So do you remember I did that at my sale? Well, I thought, wouldn't it be good, rather than to keep on borrowing the neighbour's one, if we had one made? So I applied for funding and I was successful. And I've contacted a local neighbour who's extremely good with making things out of wood and designing things. And so I'm going to pay him, which he's going to give the money to charity. So it's a small amount of money as a contribution to the wood. But then the people who he's going to make the contribution to the wood to, it's actually going to give it to a hedgehog charity. So all in all, it's really super. So I've just been sorting that out. So I've bought the balls for that. And my husband sketched the design. And I went round the man's house and we talked about what the design might look like. So that was good. I've now finished all the training that I need to do for election day on the 4th of July. So I will be working there all day from morning until the evening. And hopefully the station will be fairly quiet. So it won't be really, really busy. That's what I'm hoping, but we'll see. Yeah, so there's a few things I'm just trying to get sorted out and finished off. We've got a trip coming up with guides, but the good news is I was going to organise all of that, but somebody else has volunteered. So somebody else is organising it for all of guides and brownies. So that's one less thing I have to do. And my guidebook, I'm meeting with my mentor. I've completed the whole of my guidebook. So the only administrative things that I've got left to do is finish off my accounts. Now, I'm thinking about moving my accountant because the man that my accountant works with, I met him a few days, and I didn't tell you about this. I met him a few days and he refused to shake my hand. Now, as we're amongst friends and as about 95% of my viewers are women, I will share with you the reason why he refused to shake my hand. It is because I am a woman. That is the reason why he refused to shake my hands. And I found this deeply offensive and disrespectful. And when I mentioned it to somebody else, they said, oh, the same thing happened to me. It is all women, so don't be offended that it's just you. It's all women. And that's the person's culture. So I said, but the culture that we live in is Great Britain. The culture is, we're British, and we should all follow the British values, which if we all follow the British values, everyone would be a lot happier and things would be a lot easier. So the British values are things like rule of law, the rule of democracy, respectful of each other. So I was deeply offended by that. Now, so he's the uncle of my accountant. So now I'm looking for a new accountant. So I'm going to see what happens. That might be that I have to go ahead and use the same accountant this time, but be ready to change afterwards. But I've got to prepare all of my accounts to get them sent over. A couple of other comments. So Zoe said maybe your daughter's art things could go in a box and put in her playroom. That is a good idea, Zoe, but at the moment there is no space to walk in the playroom, so I don't think I'm going to get a box in the playroom. I need to get rid of lots of things in the playroom and then I'll have more space. Video games historian. Well done on your declutter. I've managed a big job today, apart from a few days when we were sick. Oh, so she means she's done a big job every day, apart from when she was unwell. So I'm glad you're feeling better. She helped the other half with the last of the cellar junk, so is ready now for all the things my daughter is having when she moves out, i.e. my dad's white goods, etc. And we can then have the front living room back. Wow, that sounds like a fantastic job. And then Barbara Palmore, she also said about furniture, I do like the idea of a little desk. But yeah, I'm so stuck for space in the dining room. I just don't think I'm going to have the space there. But it would be a good idea, because then it would be the area that she had to keep tidy, wouldn't it? And I could just say, well, you need to tidy up the desk now. So whilst I've been going through the comments, you've been watching me sorting out some of the kitchen and doing some jobs around the house. So you can see that the kitchen is quite cluttered and quite untidy. On the left there is the container that my daughter took into school because she made some free-from cakes, which was good. But she tells me the middle of them, unfortunately, is not cooked. So I need to check them. But she made them with another little girl who's got a wheat allergy. So I thought that was nice, they accommodated that. I've been pleased with my idea for my washing up liquid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the small washing up liquid just to my right. You can see next to my soap dish. And then once the big washing up liquid is completely empty, I will bin that. And I'm no longer going to buy any small washing up liquid bottles. I'm just going to get giant bottles and fill the small bottles up. I find that that works quite well. I like that approach. Of course, the really big bottles are much cheaper, and it can just stand neatly and easily underneath my sink, in the cupboard under my sink. So I do manage to get quite a lot of the washing up done, but certainly not all of it. In between this, I was going back and forth and threading needles and helping my daughter cast on and cast off. And this was also just before lunch, and I just wanted to get it cleared up and then have lunch. And then you'll see I then move on to the spare bedroom. So just a couple more of your comments that I wanted to share. So Laura Mitchell, she says, I'm sure your daughter will do well on her Viola exam. She's got a good imagination to think of that little sofa. I loved to make things out of cardboard boxes when I was young too. My favourite was a rocket ship out of a big refrigerator box. Wow, I can imagine that being fun. My friend and I drew all kinds of screens and dials inside the box. A few years ago, my nephew brought his 2 little girls to spend the day with us. I always have a basket of play food and toy dishes, but I bought some boxes in from the garage and made a toy stove and refrigerator with a working oven and a refrigerator door. Then I drew condiment bottles on the inside of the door, etc. I think I had more fun than they did. That sounds great. I can remember having this massive box. I don't know what it was from, but I put it in my mum and dad's conservatory, and then I turned it into a house. And that's got windows and a door, and my sister made some little paintings to go on the inside, and I just used to get in the box and sit and read, or just sit and draw in there, and that entertained me for hours. I think that's what they should. Well, I was going to say they should sell the boxes, shouldn't they? Wrap them, but they probably do somewhere. They sell the boxes that you can construct and make teepees and igloos and all sorts, don't they? But there's nothing beats a big cardboard box. I agree. Julia Thomas, great you're taking us on your journey. I enjoy your vlogs. Thank you very much. Erin posted, great, clean and tidy. Love Erin in Canada. Komorabina, you have to tell me how to pronounce that, but that's actually Ramona. Ramona in Italy. She says, hello Emma, listening to you sounds like you really want that job. Everyone is telling you to let it go, but it seems like you're stretching the final call just to find someone that gives you the okay to do it. This is what I take from you anyway. Try to let decide a coin and see what you're wishing for. Honestly, you have loads on your hands, but your family is happy. They have their own business. You don't sound stressed, and you go out and about with your family, often doing different stuff. If you have this busy life and your house is the only one that is messy and less cared for, I'd not worry about it. Tidiness will come. It's a journey. Just a thought. Have a nice weekend and a lot of wishes for your daughter. Thank you, Ramona. That's very, very kind. And perhaps that is what I'm thinking. Perhaps that was what I was thinking. And I found it very hard to decide and what to do. And people have got different views and opinions. And I did mention it to my dad, but he didn't really say anything. Haven't mentioned it to my mum. I don't talk to my sister about work things really. And I don't have anybody else to talk about work. So I've discussed it through with my husband. He thinks that I should, just finish it. Don't do it anymore. But I think I'm just going to see what happens. I mean, I may not. They may look at my form and decide they don't want me. Or maybe I'll just leave it to the weekend, leave it till Monday, and then decide not to fill the form in. See, I haven't completely decided. I might look at that form again and just think, really, what is this all about? What is this all about? I mean, they're going to increase my grade. So that the grade that I'm currently doing is going to be a grade higher. But I think what they forget is sometimes people do things not just because of the money. They do things because they want to do them. So they seem to think, oh, we're paying however much money more per hour. So people are desperate to have the job. Well, no, not necessarily. I've got my first job, which I enjoy doing most of the time. So we'll see anyway. But you can see the nightmare that is my old bedroom. So this was the bedroom that we used to have before we moved up into the loft room. And this is mostly piles of clothes, fabric, aeroplanes, items for holiday. So I've split it into, on my sale that we're going to have in the garden, I'm not going to sell any clothes because charity shops are best to sell clothes. So I'm going to give loads of clothes to charity shops. They obviously they press things, they iron things, they steam things, they make things look good, and they get the most for them. Whereas if I sell clothes in my front garden, people will probably pay 50p an item. So I'm going to give those things to the charity shop to sell. Then I've got loads of things that I decided that could go in the bin. A few like empty boxes, a few pieces of rubbish, but also just some things that just are rubbish. And then I've got a few things that I found for my sale, such as the bags I made. I think I will keep one bag for a prize or a giveaway on my channel. And don't forget, when I get to 3,000 followers, I will be sending one of my macrame hangers to anywhere in the world. Just like the ones that you can see in my front window in my dining room. You can put a pot in there of any sort of size and then hang them up. And I've made them myself. So I'm going to send one of those out when I get to 3,000 followers. So you might be one of the lucky ones. I am a bit concerned. We haven't heard for ages from Barbara. And I did a call out the other day on my channel from Barbara. And I still haven't heard anything from her. Barbara watches my videos every single time they come out and always comments. And I just hope she's okay. So if you're listening, Barbara, and you've not had a chance to comment, then please just let me know you're okay. Barbara often talks about Adam and Ryan. I can't think of your other son's name, but her sons do lots of work in the garden and house, and she's always busy. But yeah, I've not heard from her for some time. Barbara in Ireland, I hope you're well. So you can see the piles and piles of things that I've got, like everywhere, that need to be sorted. That was partly because I started doing some work on this room about a month ago, and then I just didn't get finished and didn't really move things on. So there was a pile of clothes that needed to go to the charity shop, and I never came back with a bag to fill the bag up. And then after this, I was back downstairs because the washing was done, so I was ready to put some more in and take some washing back out on the line. It's got progressively warmer, so I'm hoping that my washing is going to get dry within an hour or so, and then I'll get the next load on. So you can see I haven't got anything like the amount that I normally put in the washing machine, just I decided that maybe that's the part of the problem. I'm shoveling too much in there, and a few of you have said that to me. So, think about how much you're putting in. So maybe that is the case. Some things like from winter, like that jumper, I'm not going to hopefully wear that again until October maybe of this year. So I've decided that with my jumpers, I'm going to put them in one of those bags that squashes things down, the vacuum pack bags, and I'm going to pack them away until we get to autumn time. I've got some glass hangings that I sent Andrew and Barbara. I sent one of the glass hangings there, like outdoor tree hangings. I've got some more of those, so I might give them away on a giveaway, or I might sell some of those on my stall. I haven't yet decided, but that's what's in that box there on the left. If I empty the box out, I can then use the box for all the things on my sale, can't I? So I think I might put some online and try and sell some. I could give away a couple for a giveaway. Any ideas for giveaways, please let me know. I've got my 3,000 followers to get to. But any other ideas for giveaway, then yeah, please add in the comments. I don't mind, because I'm getting a small amount of money from YouTube for my channel, so I don't mind giving that back to people who've helped and followed me. So I don't mind paying a bit of postage and sending things off to people. It's quite good fun actually doing that. So there were some Christmas bags and some wrapping paper that I decided to put underneath the bed, because I've got a whole container for wrapping paper. There was an old pillow that looked so badly stained. It just looked like that had crawled from underneath a dog bed or something, even though we don't have a dog. That looked all stained and marked. So I'll put that in the bin. I did think about whether any animal charities would use that, but I don't think they would. I can't believe that was on our bed. Looks like that's been used a couple of times without having a cover on or something. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just old. So I just thought that I'd bin that. And then I'm filling up one of my vacuum packed bags in order to squash it down with all fabric that I'm not going to use soon, but I don't want to get rid of. So I do one for fabric and another one for clothes that I want to keep, but I'm never going to wear again. Now I know that sounds weird, but there are a few items of clothing that I just don't want to get rid of. And maybe if I come back to these, I will then change my mind. But they're just things that have sat on the bed that I decided that I do want, but there's no point having them in the chest of drawers. I've got a Punjabi suit. I've got a couple of dresses that I had when I was like 18, 19. There's my father-in-law's wedding suit there that my husband used to go out when we used to go to different 70s and vintage nights when we were first dating. A pair of his Forces trousers that I used to wear because they seemed like they used to fit me quite well and they seemed quite fashionable. A couple of big blankets there I've put into the wardrobe. So I worked here for quite a long time, and boy, it's really hot, and I felt quite tired after doing this for a long time. So after quite a while, I then decided to come down, have another sit down and relax a bit. But before I did that, I also wanted to go through the holiday case with all different bits and pieces, because I thought some of these things we've kept for such a long time, we just don't need them anymore. So there's like armbands, and although my daughter's not a strong swimmer by any stretch of the imagination, she's not going to wear armbands on holiday anymore, if indeed her arms would even get in them. So I thought, well, I could sell them on my stall, couldn't I? There are some proper seaside and beach shoes, which I think we can get rid of. A couple of pairs which I don't think will fit her anymore, so they can go to a charity shop or I'll sell them on the stall. Then there's a few other games, like holiday games, and I sort of, your words of putting like with like came to mind. So I've got other holiday games, so I just need to put all of those together, don't I? There's a few inflatables which I need to check whether they're too small, so I could get rid of them. It's one of my beach bags that I had from when I was about 12, which I never use, but I don't want to get rid of, which is a bit silly, isn't it? And then we've got some medicine cases which have to go in the freezer, so they're perfect. They're made for hot weather. I was thinking about this. Really, what someone needs to design is they need to design fashionable shoulder bags for medicine. So things that like young women, girls can wear, and there's enough space for the medicine they need, as well as their purse or their phone and a couple of knickknacks. But at the moment there doesn't seem to be anything in the market at all. So we still carry around sort of a lunchbox bag, and then people make comments such as, oh, I like your handbag, not realising that obviously what's in it, which, you know, why should they know, but then why make the comment? And then sometimes people say to my husband, oh, I like your handbag, or I like your man bag. It is a lunch bag, so I don't know why people just don't think he's got his lunch in that, but I guess sometimes people don't think, do they? So you'll see me do a lot more upstairs, and you'll see me sorting out with the vacuum pack bags, packing things, sorting things, and I've got a big pile now that's going to go to the charity shop, and a big pile that I'm going to store in that right hand corner of the screen, all the things that are going to go for my sale. So thank you very much for watching my video. Thank you for your support, your comments, your likes. I very much appreciate them. and I'll love reading your comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!